Good morning once again, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. It's always a pleasure to see some of the faces that have been consistent with us. And it's great to see the age group range that we have today, some young ones to some oldies like me and baldies like Sanjay. So we will all be learning from our young expert, Naindeep, on something that I'm sure most of us are either intrigued or overwhelmed because we kind of have been hearing about it, but we don't know enough about how to make those awesome designs and give those beautiful presentations that we sometimes see people doing. So today, without taking too much time, I'll be handing this over to Nandi. But before that, I just want to take 2 minutes to introduce the organization Mindful Living OPC Private Limited, which is the sponsor for these webinar series. We are actually a group of experts who have come together to offer services like business consulting, training, coaching, startup mentoring, etc. And we have people who have been in CXO positions and have over 30 years of professional experience individually. So that combines to having a few hundred years of combined experience. So I request all of you to take as much advantage of our association in whatever you think we might help you with. And particularly, we have recently launched what we call as CLC Finishing School. The full form of CLC is Conscious Living Center, which is one of the verticals that we have. And this is a finishing school where we are trying to support unemployed, employed folks who want to reskill, upskill, and anybody who feels that they want to catch up with something new that keeps coming up, especially with the technology being so disruptive and so amazingly quick nowadays, right? So with this brief introduction about us, and also just before I hand it over, we have these webinars organized every Saturday from 11 to 11:45. And this is being provided for free. So of course, in 45 minutes, as we were also discussing just this morning, there is only some limited introduction we can give on a topic, but still try to give you a few solid takeaways. But then, always you will need a slightly longer period of training and practicing to really get a hang of anything new that you want to learn and become an expert of. We will be sharing with all of you different courses that we have that you might want to register yourself for in the group that we have for all of you. So with that, I would like to welcome our expert, Naindeep Kapoor, to take over from here, introduce herself, and then get started with the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Archana. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. It's a Saturday morning. I know some of you might feel the need to just go back to sleep. So I'm going to make sure that the next 45 minutes at least do not feel that way for you. We're going to have a lot of fun. Allow me to introduce myself first, and then we'll go to the topic at hand. You know, my name is Naindeep Kapoor. I talk to people, I take trainings, I facilitate trainings on soft skills, English language learning, and I have been using designs in my work for about 10 years now. Initially, I started out as a novice. I wasn't any good. Now, I think I'm decent enough that, my presentations are a little bit fun and people enjoy the designs and the cleanliness, the aesthetic, the clean aesthetic that my slides generally have. So that is what I'm keeping in mind as we start off today. I would love to share whatever I know with you. 45 minutes, like Archana said, is obviously not a lot of time, but we're going to do our best to equip you with the right knowledge so that if you want to start today, you can still create presentations or social media posts or decks that are really interesting. Okay, so you should be happy with that, and that is my goal for today. So with that, thank you so much again for joining in. I see a lot of familiar faces, so those of you who know me already, thank you so much for being here. With that, I'm going to ask a quick question. Have all of you used Canva before? How many of you have used Canva before? Aarti has, Archana has, okay. Uday has
No,
as well. Wonderful. Okay.
no.
Ayush has.
Had the subscription for 4 years, but never really used it actively.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. To that, I think I'm going to repeat that, a lot of you might have thought that you need the Canva paid subscription or the pro subscription to make good designs. But like I was telling Archana, to this day, I've been thinking about it, but I still don't have the pro subscription. So I'm using the free version. It is entirely possible for you to create decent designs out of the free version as well. Okay, so I see that a lot of you do have Canva subscription. You do have, an account there. So I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time taking you through the logging in process. I'll quickly just show you what the screen looks like and where you would need to go in case you do not have an account. Okay, so let's start with that. When you go to canva.com, you should see ideally a screen like this. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
perfect. So this screen is honestly very interesting and should, tempt you enough to log in or sign up. All you would have to do if you're a first-time user is to click on sign up, and then you can continue with any of these options. I like doing it with Google because it means less hassle. So I would just click on continue with Google, add my email address and password for my Google account, and then take it forward. Okay, so a very, very basic thing. After you do this, the next screen that you will see after you sign in or log into your Canva account, I'm going to share a different screen now for that. So give me a moment, please. So when you do that, you should ideally see a screen that looks like this. This is your home page for Canva, right? There have been a couple of changes. So if you have used Canva in the past, but you're coming back to it after a long, long time, you might see that a lot has changed here. This home screen, you will see some of the recent designs that you've created are going to be hosted here. There are a lot of easy ways for you to start off with. If you want to create a social media post, the simplest way to do that would be to click here, and then I'll show you what other options you have in the design edit or the design dashboard that you can use. But identify, I think the first thing would be to identify the kind of document you want to create. Is it a presentation? Is it a social media post? Do you want to just create a poster or a resume? Because you will see in the designs that I have here, I create everything on Canva, from the presentations that I use for my trainings to posters, the poster that you got for your training today here. I created that on Canva. I created my profile, which I send to people as my CV, right? So to say, I created that on Canva, and you will see when you scroll, it's an automatic scroll. I've created the same thing for my siblings as well, right? So anything and everything that you can think of, you can create on Canva. It's pretty easy. It's not as complex as, say, Adobe tools, although Adobe tools are really good as well. But this is a great place to start if you are not a design expert. Okay, now I'll just take you through a couple of things here on the side so that you are accustomed to what's happening on your home screen. This is where you click create a design. When you want to do something, it's going to show you more or less the same options that you see on the top toolbar of your home screen, right? Do you want to create a doc, a whiteboard, presentation, social media? Do you want to create a video? Uh, Print graphics for your products, which means product labels, etc. So you will be able to choose from all of this, right? The next thing that you will see here on this side are existing templates within Canva. So this is stuff that you don't have to put a lot of effort into. You just see it, you can use it, you can start editing it right from the bat, right? So this is a great one. In case you want to take a look at some of your recent designs, you can also take a look here, and then you will see more of your projects. If you click on projects, you see only a screen with all of your projects, things that you have created. In templates, this is one of my favorite things, favorite places to start off with. So for example, if I want a marketing deck, I have a lot of placeholders here already, right? These are supposed to help me. But if you find them too confusing and you know that you only have to create a fun learning presentation, for example, fun learning presentation, for grammar, English grammar, something very basic. I just typed that in. Now there are two things that are happening on my screen right now. I have existing templates in here, right? Some of these templates actually already have rules of grammar topics that are mentioned in here. So that reduces my time by a huge margin. The second thing you'll see is on top, it says magic design. This is Canva's AI, which is going to help you with fresh designs and fresh content that you can start using. You get, I think, 10 to 15 credits in a month that you can use for free. So this is how I use Canva AI without actually paying for it. Okay, because I use it very judiciously. So if I want to use a design of this sort, I would just click on it and I can go to customize this template, and this is already created for me based on the input I put in the search bar. Okay, I just said fun learning presentation on grammar, right? So AI honestly doesn't understand the term fun all that much. Okay, so you will see a basic presentation, but it is still a great place to begin with because the slides are in place, right? The slides are in place. There are placeholders. I know if I want to have a heading, this is the font and everything that I can use. This is the kind of subheading that I can use. I don't have to decide too many things. It reduces my workload. If I don't want to choose this, I can also choose one of these. Let's say this, for example, right? Now, this currently looks like something that's been created for very young learners, but it can also be edited or tweaked a little bit to suit the adult learners that I typically talk to. Okay, so exclamations, you see, this is essentially a fun presentation. There are a lot of elements here, a lot of things that are happening, and I had to do nothing to create this content, right? It is pre-created, it's a template, and it is for free. Okay, so let me show you. For example, if you see pro or this crown on the side of any of these templates, this means that this is a pro version and you will not be able to use this particular thing. Okay, but all of the others, for example, this or even this one or this one, parts of verbs, all of this you can use for free. Okay, and when you do go in and try to customize this template, I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So it could be for a social media post, it could be a presentation, anything that you decide on. When you click on it, this is how it will appear. Okay, so you have basically the kind of outline that you see on PPT on the left side is what you see on the bottom here. Okay, so you will be easily able to align yourself with where you want to be. What do you want to take a look at? Now, this presentation for me is already fun, and I've taken a look at this template for the first time right now. Okay, if I want to change something about it, I think a couple of things that I need to understand are design basics. We'll come to those in a bit. Okay, I'll try to share some information on design basics as well. But let me introduce you now to all of these tools that you have at your disposal on the site. Okay, so please remember on PowerPoint, I'm sure all of you have used PowerPoint in the past. The outline or all of these slides are generally displayed on the left side. The slide that you're working on is in the middle, and then there is a toolbar on the top, right? In Canva, the same thing is a little differently aligned. The slides are at the bottom. The slide that you're editing or working on is in the middle so that you can see it, to the fullest extent possible of your screen. And the toolbar is on the left. So if you click here and you click on design, okay, this is the design that I've chosen. That's why you will see it here. But for a fresh design, this is the kind of screen you will see. Okay, so when you click on design, you can again choose to have a different template. I'm going to write something here again. So this is an input that I gave to AI a little while ago. Okay, create a fun presentation talking to audiences about subject verb agreement rules in about 10 to 15 slides, and the design should be clean and friendly, clean and fun. Okay, if I do this, I get again more templates to choose from, right? The same thing that I did in the home screen for templates. And I also get a lot of designs that AI has created here. You see, I click on see all. all of these designs were just created for me after I put that information in the search bar. All right. So this is how AI can reduce your time in Canva. Moving forward, here are the elements of design that you can use. Okay, when you click on elements, you will see this entire screen, which will include a couple of things you've just used in the past. Okay, which means videos, and I just use these lines, this texture, all of this because I wanted to experiment with something. I used grade because, or even this is what the background here is created out of: squares, checks, small checks, right? So you can use all of this to create a texture for your background. You can use it to bring together your design as well. I'm just taking you through the tools right now, not talking about design essentials as such. So when you click again on elements, you have recently used, you have shapes, all shapes, and you can change their colors. Okay, I'm going to take an example here and show you how to do that. Let me just click on plus, create. This is a blank slide now. Okay, it's absolutely plain white. I go to design or elements and I put this in. This is something I can type in automatically. No problem at all. Okay, if you want to type in the shape, this is how you do it. You click on the shape, you will see a very special toolbar only for this particular shape. So I can change the color by clicking here on this tab. I can choose any of these pre-existing colors. Okay. And then if my slides have any other photograph, any other picture, okay, I'll take you through this as well. How do you do this? So this, for example, is the CLC logo, right? So if I want to make sure that the element that I have is in sync with the CLC logo colors. I would go here to the plus icon. I would click on this eyedropper and I would take a color from here. Okay. Simple, plain and simple way for me to make sure that my design is in alignment with the picture or the logo of the brand I'm creating something for. Okay, so this is there, and then I can also, if I choose this option, I can also choose a border for it. Do I want a border or not is also my choice. If I click on this, I have no border in this shape. If I click on anything else, I get that kind of border. I don't like my borders particularly this thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the border weight. Okay, let me show it to you this way. This is a very thin border. You can almost not see it. This is a very thick border. Okay, so I can easily change between these. I can also create corner rounding, which means right now you see these are all very sharp edges in the shape. I can reduce the sharpness. Okay, just by using this. Now, this is about the shape. When I click on the text itself, this is the place that I click on. So basically on Canva, you don't have all of the tools and all of the options right in your face all the time. They want to make it easy for you to go through your design. So once I have an idea of the shape, I want to decide the font, I will just click here and another toolbar toolkit will already open on my left to choose fonts from. There are so many fonts here, and if I find it difficult to understand what to use, I can use these, prompts. Do I want something that's handwritten, something that looks very corporate, something that looks like a heading, or do I want something cursive? Okay, so all of these are cursive fonts that I can start using right off the bat. Okay. Now, one bit of recommendation, if you're using designs, especially for the corporate world or things that you really want a lot of people to see, and it's not supposed to be too creative, try not using cursive fonts because it will impede people's understanding. Okay, cursive fonts are not easy to read. They take a lot of time and effort to read and understand, and so they're not a recommendation in design in general. Okay, so these are the different fonts that I can start using. I can increase the font size from here. I can also just type out something I like. Okay, so that's there. I can change the font color from here. Okay, so this is where I'll go. Whenever you have A written and you have an option of colors right below it, that is where you go to change the font colors. Okay, this particular font is not allowing me to use bold and italicization options, so I can choose a different font if I want to use them. So fonts come in families, right? Some fonts do not have the option of being bold and thin, so they only have one type of thickness, and they do not give you a lot of options for changing that. This particular one, for example, has the option, right? This is where you go to align your text. Okay, and this is where you add bullets, different kinds of bullets. You don't have to think too much. You just keep clicking on it. It will automatically keep giving you different kinds of bullets. Okay. Now, this is where you go if you have a lot of text and you want to space it differently. Okay. Because spacing is very crucial in design. So if, for example, I have all of this text and it seems to me that it is very cramped, I would go to this bit, which looks like, three arrows and one extending arrow, which is vertical. I can increase letter spacing. Do you see what's happening? And I can also increase line spacing. This generally gives your design a very clean look, right? So this will help. And one of my most favorite options ever is this. So let's see how it works. If I have, for example, an image that I want to use in the background, okay, I'm going back. I've already told you about the shapes. Let me quickly just tell you about the line as well. Even for the line, you can change the color from here. You can change the rounded points. Okay, some lines have very thick points, some lines have rounded points. It's not going to be all that visible in your design, to be honest, but it's still an option that you can choose from. Now this is my line weight. Okay, here you can see rounded points and now you cannot. Okay, so in general you will not be able to see it, so this is fine. You can also choose if you want it to be curved, how curved do you want it to be. Okay, and do you want it to be elbowed? How do you want this to change? Basically, you can take care of all of that. Okay, but coming to one of my favorite things to do in terms of design. Now, if I have a picture and I want to use it in the background, it's not going to be easy for me to put some text on top of it. And if I do that just like that, it's going to look a little untidy, right? So what do I do instead? I put a picture in the background and I add an element which is probably a square on top of it. Okay, these are a couple of options that I'm giving to you. You can choose something else as well. You pull this across the slide and then you go to this option which will give you transparency
Transparency.
options, right? You reduce the transparency or increase the transparency. Any text that you put on top of this now will be much more easily visible, right? Now, if I don't want to do this with the entire thing, I only like, this bit, this much of this picture should be visible. I don't need the rest of it. I can also reduce or change the size of this box, and I can use it this way only for the text bit. Okay, this is exactly what I've done in one of the other presentations. I'll show you how it looks when it's, the final bit of design. You'll see the difference it can make. So this is there. I can also change the, of course, color of this particular square. I like using whites and blacks or grays more than any other colors because they go with a lot of pictures. Okay. Otherwise, if my picture has a lot of blue elements, for example, I might also use a blue and then reduce the transparency. Another option is for me to have a, I have a clear white background, right? Before I put in the picture, I had a clear white background. And now if I reduce the transparency, it's going to look like this of the picture. I'm reducing the transparency of the picture right now. Okay, so this can also help. Moving forward, you have elements which are going to give you graphics. So if I want, for example, a diya, I'm designing something for Diwali, for example. I have photographs here, right? Some of these are pro, some of these are not. I have graphics here, which I can use. Some of these again are paid, some of these are not. And these are very interesting ones, right? You have shapes, you also have videos in terms of diyas for Diwali specifically. Things that you can use for free, things that you cannot use for free. right? You have shapes, nothing particular for a diya right now, okay? You have frames and mock-ups. Let me show you what a frame does, okay? If you type frame, you will see these elements, these different shapes, which look like this, okay? Almost as if they have a picture vacancy. That's because they do. Now, if I were to put this in, I have a definitive shape here. There is a definitive outline to this shape. And if I put a picture here in the middle, I just have to, pick this picture, drag and drop it into this shape. It's going to look like this. It's automatically going to fit into this frame. Okay. And if I double click on this frame, I can move it across. Do I want only this much of it to be visible? Do I want this much of it to be visible? What do I really want? Okay, so I can change it according to my preference. All right. So this is something that you can do with frames. I find it very interesting because there are so many different types. Sometimes you just want to add an image for the sake of a design. It doesn't have a lot of other importance. So this kind of frame could also work very well. Now, if I want to change a frame, I click on this one, right click, detach the image from here, drag and drop it to the other one. Okay, so I can do this bit as well. Looks very clean, very nice, right? Now, moving forward from elements, I think we've talked a lot about it. This is your storehouse of options. Whenever you want something, just go search for it on Canva. You'll find a lot of interesting options. Text is something you can add a text box from here as well. Okay, you can increase by dragging the side point here. You can increase or decrease the size. You can use any fonts that you see here. The rest of the options remain more or less the same. I'm not going to these ones right now. You can also use Magic Write. Now, when you use Magic Write in the free version, you have an option to use, I think, 47 credits in a month or something of that sort. I'll just show you. Okay. So I haven't written anything. The AI tool automatically sensed what I'm trying to do on this slide and it automatically created a prompt, but I'm not going to use it. Okay. I am going to perhaps try adding a fresh bit. Okay, this is using one of 44 credits that I currently have. I want to write content for a slide talking about how culture impacts language use in different parts of the world. Now, I'm doing nothing else here. This is a very basic prompt. It's not even a very specific prompt. And I click on generate. I have the entire content in front of me already. I can choose to edit it. I can choose to change something about it, but this is good, right? I'm not saying that AI will give you things that are absolutely perfect, right? So you will not get absolutely perfect results, your final results or your final draft through AI, but you will certainly get a very good first draft. And that is a great place to begin, right? Because it takes off a lot of load from your mind that you have to create everything from scratch. So I can just simply insert it. I can play with the fonts. I can change the size of this text box. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. When I click on these sidebars, I'm changing the size of this text box. And when I use the side points, I increase or decrease the size of the text. Okay, now if I have, for example, let's say I add a heading and I don't want it to be this plain. It's very plain right now, right? What do you all think? You've all been very quiet, so let me ask all of you. Plain and simple, right? So how do I make it fun and interesting? You will see among these options on the top, I have effects, right? In effects, I can choose to add a shadow here, okay? And I can change how the shadow looks, okay? I can change the direction of the shadow. I hope you can see what I'm doing on my screen, right? I can blur the shadow a little bit so that it looks like, the heading is popping out. It's almost a 3D thing. When you add shadows to something, it goes from becoming 2D to 3D, essentially, right? So I can blur it, I can offset it, and I can also create some transparency around it, basically. Okay, this is only one effect, right? If I go to effects again, I choose lift, I can choose how much lift I want for this text. I can choose hollow, which means this is how it's going to look like, and I can change the thickness. All this while, I can also change the color, right? So let's remember that. Now going back to effects, I can choose to add a shadow to this hollow heading by using splice. And I can change the color from here as well. So my font is essentially in orange, but I'm using a blue for this shadow effect, right? So this is something I can do. I can change the direction again, offset this, and then I can also choose an outline. This is all very thick and bold. I can do this. This is also great. I will leave you to explore all of these options. Okay, these are very interesting. This is something you can use. It's very nice and basic. You add a background. This is where you choose the color. Okay, but I'll take you to my favorite option now. Curve shapes. Okay, if you go to the bottom here, you have the option of keeping this absolutely plain and simple. Okay, I'm going to do this. You can also keep it curved, right? And you can choose how curved do you want it to be. Do you want it to be curved like this or like this? Okay, so if I sometimes you would see text has been written in a very wavy format in some designs. How is that created? I would just, I'm going to copy paste this bit of text. Heading goes this way. Okay, very plain and simple. Now, I do not want this to have any shadows because that will create complications, but I can choose this to be curved this way, and this bit is in a different text box. It goes this way. Okay, so you can do this as well. I see a lot of smiles, so I know that this is interesting. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So you can play around with so many things here on Canva. You can do this with a bigger, bit of text as well. You can do it with a smaller bit of text. It works best with headings and subheadings though. Okay, so this is about your text. If you have the pro option, you can add your brand colors, your palette, your fonts to this as well, so that you just have to click on the colors, you have to just click on the fonts, and all of your designs would by default be something that your brand guidelines adhere to. They would be compliant. Okay. Now, if you have something on your desktop that you want to add here, right? It could be anything. I've created invitations for people's, 10th anniversary parties. That's why you would see all of these images here. So what you basically have to do is you can drag and drop an image from your desktop or anywhere. You can bring it to, this place in the web, and you can drop it here. You can also upload files from here. Okay. So you will see all of this, all of these options, right? So you can upload things here, and after that, it is going to be in this library forever until you delete it. So you can access these uploads from anywhere in the world if you just log into your Canva account. All right, so it's like your personal cloud. So this is where you can take all of this from. When you go to draw, you can also create these things. I don't use them a lot because they're not very useful for training related content and designs. But you can also, if you're editing a document, for example, this can come in very handy. You open the document on Canva and you just, underline, okay, this is the bit that needs to change. This is what needs to change, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, back to projects. These are my current projects. Okay. And these are some apps that you can use. Again, very cool and interesting. I'll show you why. If you want to get, charts, you want a particular background, perhaps. I've just clicked on background right now, and I am going to add texture, because if something's plain white versus it has some texture, it looks much better, right? I just took something that was already here. I did not create anything new, right? So any questions so far? I think we're already at 11:41. So I would, yes.
I already have two questions for you, Nandi. First of all,
Okay.
what you have covered is awesome, and I'm itching to try it all. However, while I said I have been working with this, but there's so much to learn. It's fantastic. So one question I had is, you see sometimes different options of templates being provided to you, right? When you showed any topic you
Yes.
choose, etc. Is there any way to mix or merge these different templates with different designs?
So it's not going to be automatic, but you can definitely. Now, I have this particular design going on already, right?
Yes, yes.
But if I go here
Mhm.
and I decide that, this one is something, I want this one particular page, I would
Yes.
not apply all 10 pages.
Hmm.
Okay. I would just change something here and I will get an option. Do I want to add this as a new page or do I want to replace the
Oh.
design? Okay.
Wow, that's amazing. That's like magic. Thank you. Exactly, that's what I wanted. And now my
All
second
right.
question is related. Is there a way for me to match the like design now of like the whole complete shade went off, right? But I want the
Yeah.
rest of the things. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll show you one little thing. Okay. I'm not sure if it works still because a
Mhm.
lot has changed. If I change this particular color to this, anywhere I have this color in my design, I will get an option to change it to this.
Ah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I can do this quickly. It may not be a foolproof method. I might have to go through all the slides once to make sure कि मैंने गलती से कहीं पे text का color change नहीं कर दिया है, right?
Right, right,
Because I need to make sure my text is visible.
right.
But this can come in handy.
Ah, okay.
Anything else? I see Asar ji, you have a
Yes.
question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead,
First of
please.
all, pardon my ignorance. I've never used this tool before. I presume one thing that once we use this, we can save it and download it. Am
Yes,
I correct?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Let me show
Secondly,
you how. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll show it to you after you're done. Yes.
Secondly, when you were using this example where you had the logo of CLC on one side and the other thing you're working on, is it possible for you to play with the, let's say, logo of CLC also?
It is possible, but only so there are certain options that you get with the pro membership. This is not something I use, but there is a background remover, right? So if I want to remove the background in the logo and only use the candles in the CLC logo, for example, I will be able to do it if I remove the black background and then I can put the candles elsewhere, right? But ideally, in branding communication, it is generally advised not to touch the logo because it is the
No, no,
visual
it's not a
identity.
question of logo. Logo
Right.
is here. We are taking as an example.
Yeah,
Suppose I take anything from anywhere, put it
yeah,
here. Can I play with it?
you can. Absolutely, you can. You will probably have limited options if you don't have the pro version, but you can still play around with it. Let me show you a couple of examples. This is, for example, an image that I've taken from somewhere, right? There's nothing too fancy about it. It could be someone's logo as well. So I can flip it, limited options, like I said. But I can do this. I can use transparency options. I can choose corner rounding. I can also crop it the way I want. So how do I want it to be cropped? I have all of these options for, proportions here. So these would be most of my options, but I can also add filters. So if I click
Okay.
on edit here, you will see a lot of filters coming in here. These are the different effects. So this is adding blur or removing blur in certain places. Okay,
Okay,
so
fine.
these are the effects.
Next, I think that's fair enough. Let's move next. Suppose I prepare a whole text or whole matter for my presentation. Is it possible that I upload it for Canva and Canva does the designing? Or
I
I have to
can,
go slide by slide?
so I will show you what Canva can do. If you go to say, this is a presentation I created in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay, how did I do that? I came to a blank presentation here. I went to design and I told Canva to create a fun presentation. When I did that, I got all of these slides automatically. Okay, now what I did was I didn't think it was good enough. So I had to ask Canva to also create a slide by slide content plan for my deck, right? And now I will probably have to go through each and every slide and change things, but I just have a template in place that I can play with. Okay, so to answer your question, you can't use a click and go button to do it in one go, but things are easier this way. So you still have options to use. I hope that helps us, sir.
Right. Okay. Finally, before I leave, you see, as you said, that lot of content it is generating automatically on its own.
Yeah,
Is it that it is using content fed by you and me to generate what a third person needs or fourth person needs? In that
entirely
case,
possible.
pardon?
Entirely possible.
So in that case, one has to be very careful what information I am putting in here, because somebody somewhere it can be used and it can be, my privileged information is used somewhere else.
Very true. So I think that's how most AI tools work these days. Even for ChatGPT, anything you put into the AI content bit, that is something they're definitely going to use for training their artificial intelligence tool to develop better. However, if you're just using, simple slides, you're not using AI to generate your content and create your slides. In that case, all of your content is very safe. You haven't really used AI to generate it. You aren't using AI to do a lot of other things. If you're doing it all on your own, then AI has nothing to do with it. But if you are using AI, what it has generated, it's going to use that bit to generate better results in the future. So you're very right with your concern there. Anything confidential should ideally not go to AI. Okay. Any other questions I can answer right now? Nope. Okay. Can I take 2, 3 extra minutes to take you through some design essentials as well? I've taken you through a lot of stuff here on Canvas Toolbox. One more thing, you can also add videos from YouTube. You can just click on YouTube here. You can embed the videos. Okay. You just need the URL. So you go to YouTube here, click this icon. You can search something from here also. For example, emotional intelligence. Okay, these are a couple of videos that will show up automatically. If I have the URL, I can just put that in here and I click on the video that I want. It's going to embed it. I will need internet to play it, but this is now part of my slide. I don't have to download it. Okay.
Actually, Naindeep, can you just tell me where did you begin? Like, where did you get this
Sure.
option?
Okay, let me go back. I have removed everything, right? So on top of your screen, you see design, element, text, everything. You scroll down here,
Mhm.
you will see app.
Right, right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you see this, it might be a little different for all of you as well, but you will definitely get it when you click on app. You click on app, you type YouTube here, you will get this option, and there that's where you can choose it from. So you can do the same with audio files as well. You can look for audio files that are already here. Some of them are going to be paid, but you can do a lot from the free versions as well. Okay, so that's there, everyone. Now going to design essentials. Okay, so here are a couple of things I would love for all of you to remember about designs. I don't remember, this is a very old presentation that I created on Canva. So I don't remember if I have animations in here yet, but let me take you through this. Okay. Oh, I do have animations. Wonderful. So in terms of design, I think it's very important to have an eye to detect good design from bad. Now, I would love for all of you to think about these two designs. There is so much text in here, it's not easy for a person to read. And in this one, the background is popping out so much that the text is not visible. So both of these, in my opinion, would not be great ideas or examples of design. Moving forward, if you take a look at these, this is one of the slides that I just showed you as well, right? I have a collage of different cultures in the background, and then this is a title slide talking about what is culture. I feel this is okay. You might feel otherwise. It's absolutely okay for us to disagree. But these two are definitely not okay, right? Because this background is neon green. There is too much happening here, right? We need proper contrast, and any colors that we use should ideally not be too jarring for the audience's eyes. I should ideally also make sure that, a lot of people in my audience could be visually impaired, which means they find it very difficult to deal with too many colors or too many bright colors. So it is a good idea to generate a color palette or use colors that have high contrast so that people find it easy to read your content. For example, yellow on top of white. It might look great in a PPT, but it is not something that works very well for an audience. An audience, someone in the audience would have to, work really hard to see that content. So about this one, you see too much is happening here again. And the text here is cursive, very fancy font, which doesn't make things easy for the audience, for you as a viewer, right? Some more examples. Too much happening here. Now, this slide also has a lot of content, but it is much cleaner. It's much more easy to understand. And I did the same thing. I added a background image here. I have a very decent, very simple heading. And then I used another bit because there was a lot happening in this background. I wanted to break that from the text so that my text was clearly visible. I created a square, reduced transparency in blue color, and I added the text on top. Okay, now here are a couple of things that we should ideally take care of when it comes to design. Do I have proper contrast? Let me show you in the upcoming slides with examples what I mean. Okay, so these are 7. We're going to just talk about these and then we'll be done. Okay, use grids to make sure that there is proper sequence, or if you are a beginner, grids are a great way to drive someone's eye. Okay, because it's easy, right? You just have to put in squares, one thing next to the other. You don't have to think too much, right? So you will be able to use contrast. See, blue color on a white backdrop, right? White on top of a black backdrop, right? So that's there. Sanjay ji, were you saying something? I think you're on mute. Okay, I think maybe he's not talking to us.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
just
not.
wanted to make sure. All right, moving forward, use grades and use emphasis and scale. I don't need too much content to make people think about what I'm talking of. So if I have a dance event, I don't have to put in too much information here. This is just probably a teaser, right? So I have an image or an animation or something that drives people's eye, and everything else is smaller, and that's fine. Everything does not need to be big, right? The one important thing in your design can be big. So this, for example, I want to drive people's eye to the visual treat that this, bit is, this cake is. And so I want people to see it so that they can see the colors and they can feel that, oh, I would love to taste something like this, right? Now, moving forward, balance. So first and foremost, have margins and space around everything in your design. Every single thing. Because if there is no margin, everything looks cramped. And your text should not be too heavy on your slides anyway. You should ideally just have 4 to 5 bullet points or ideas or concepts on your slides, and the rest you can talk about if you're a trainer, because then it makes for good conversations, great discussions as well, and people don't have to focus too much on the slides instead of focusing on what you're saying. So I think that really helps. Then you have the rule of thirds, which means that if you divide the entire canvas that you have into 3 by 3 grid, 9 grids in total, 2/3 of it should be empty, okay, and 1/3 of it should have some element, right, or it should have a different element. Now, this is something that a lot of graphic designers use as well. It's very easy to do. So I have something very basic here, and the actual product that I want to market is here, right? In the end, in the 1/3. So this is something that can be used. Then we have rule of odds. So you see 1, then a break, and 2. So 1, 2, 3. There are 3 elements, right? Again, if you look at it, one element of the subheading, then one element that I want to stand out, and another element on the bottom. So when you choose something that's in 3s or 5s or 7s, it's easier for someone to remember what you've written or what you've created, right? Even for this design, for example, this was the initial design that I'd created a long time ago for another workshop. I used the 3s here, right? So I introduced my design or my workshop in 3s, and then I moved forward with something else. So that's there, my friends. And you can use these ideas to make sure that you're building a good design With that, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to take any other questions you may have and help you in any other way that I can. All
Just
right. Hanji, yes, Arti.
that brown background which you showed just now, no? With that
Yeah.
curved one. Yeah, that brown. How did you get that brown background?
Okay, I actually took this. This is someone's logo. I took it,
Yeah.
from the internet. I did
Okay.
not create this. But
Okay.
if you had to, you could just, use a circle. On top of
Okay.
that, a rounded rectangle, and then put it in
Okay.
the background. On
Okay.
top of it,
Okay.
you write the elements. You write
Yes. Yes.
the
Yes.
text. So that's how you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
I will stop sharing.
Anybody has any
Awesome.
questions?
Everything is new, Archana. So there's no point in asking questions. We'll only have to go into it, and then more questions will come later. And we are not very tech savvy, so it's a new experience and a wonderful experience. We got to know what Canva is all about, and it's a new learning for us. Thank you so much, Archana, for arranging this. Thank you, Nainadeep, and thank you all of you for coming together and helping us to learn something new. For me, it is new, of course. I don't know about others. For me, it's new.
So
Thank you,
Naindeep,
Madhavi.
last question. How good is Canva in optimizing the file size?
Okay, so let me show you what you can do in terms of downloading your designs. Okay, I think that is where you will get a couple of other options for sizing and resizing it as well. Just a second. So this is, for example, my slide. I can choose to present it from here, okay? Or I can choose this, double arrow option from the bottom to present it. When I go to share, just a second. When you go to share, this is where you can share your design with everybody else. So I just have to type out your email address and you will get an email from Canva that Naindeep Kapoor has shared this design with you. Okay. So I'm just taking you through all of these sharing options. What do you want those people to do? Just like Google, right? How Google Drive works. Do you want them to be able to sign in, access it just with a link? What do you really want to do? Then we come to these options. If you have a website, there is also an option to create websites on Canva. So you can see how it looks as a website, the entire deck that you have. You can take a look at all of these options. You can print something with Canva. You can email something, chooses at the LinkedIn page, so on and so forth. When you click on download specifically, you will be able to see all of these options. Do you want to flatten the PDF? Do you want to include notes? Also, do you want standard PDF to be downloaded or do you want the PDF for printing? This is going to be something that takes up a lot of space. Standard PDF will not take up too much space, right? So this will be optimized for size basically. You can also choose a high quality video. You can also choose PNGs and JPGs for downloading images for social media. PNG is a little more complex. It takes up more space. JPG, not all that much, right? Mahiji, you want to add something? You're on mute, sorry. Can't hear you.
No, I have to leave for a meeting.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Okay, all
Manish.
right. Thank you for letting us know. Uday, I hope this helps.
Yeah. So there's so many options, so you can actually that's
Yeah.
wide enough to actually choose.
And in fact, I just wanted to add at this point that after you download, and even if you've downloaded it as a PPT, you can continue to do edits there
Yes.
and do whatever you need as a regular PPT. So those of us who are used to doing presentations through PowerPoint, we can do that by just downloading this.
True, true. By the way, you can also select the pages that you want to download. So if I only want to download page 1 and 2, I can do that. It's going to be one
Okay.
PDF. And if you want, say, this one page to be downloaded as an image instead, because I won't be able to post something as a PDF, right? So if I want to post something on Instagram, I would rather do it as a PNG or a JPG. And I can choose also the file size from here if I have a pro, right? So this is something that can be done using a pro membership. There are some benefits. I haven't found the use or the absolute need for it just yet. So I'm holding off on it. but I think it's also a good challenge for me, what can I do next without using the pro membership? So, any other questions I can answer for
That
anyone?
pages, acha, that pages, okay, you selected from here. Okay,
Yes,
I saw
it's a
it.
drop down. You can
Okay,
just choose whichever ones you want.
yeah.
One other
So,
question I had is if you have something you have created in a horizontal design and you want to convert it for social media as a vertical thing, is there any option?
If you have Pro, then you can just go to resize here and do it. If you
Okay.
don't have Pro, I will tell you a trick. So you can just go to Canva's homepage. Okay, you can choose what size you really want for it. Okay, so for example, I'm sorry, I have so many things open because I wanted to take you through all of them. You create a design. Okay, you go to social media. This is a template, right? I know an Instagram post, for example, is going to be this big. So I open it up. I take my design from here. Okay, let's say this is my design. I just copy the entire thing, Control A, Control C, put it here, and then I can adjust the rest.
Okay.
Right? Simple, plain and simple. Right now, my background's white, so you can't see everything.
Right.
But see, I have everything in place. I just have to move it around now. Nothing else.
It's basically copy paste onto.
Yeah. You can resize it. You can do whatever you want. Easy peasy. All
Then
right.
then you can have different versions by adding pages for
Absolutely,
the
we can.
same post. Yeah.
For
Okay,
sure.
one more last question is, how do you create a slider? I
This
see a lot of social media posts with
Oh,
a
the carousels. Okay.
carousel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what you can do for that basically there is just a second. Okay. So you just keep adding these. Okay. You keep adding different pages. In Canva, this is the best way to go about it. Okay. You add these many pages, you design each individual page, and when you're uploading it on social media, you will have to choose multiple images altogether. That's how, even on Instagram, you'll be able to put together a carousel. But if there is any video as part of your carousel, that's also going to show in your reel segment. So you'll have to be careful with that. Okay, any other questions?
I
We
think
good?
we are good, and this was superbly excellent.
Thank
In
you so
fact, we
much.
had some other participants, and Ayush, thank you for being on camera all the time, and I loved that. So, any of you have anything to say before I, thank Naindeep formally? Most welcome, or if you have again still questions, please do ask.
Masterful, Naindeep. Well done. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
Naindeep
glad that it helped.
had a wonderful
Yes.
presentation. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
So
you.
only when I start doing it, maybe I'll have some questions. That time I'll ask you again.
Definitely feel free to ping me at any time.
Yeah.
So, Ayush, anything from you?
Thank you so much, Naindeep, and thank you so much, Archana, for arranging such workshop. It was really, really helpful. I am definitely going to try it and see if I'm surely going to have more questions. We'll reach out to.
Absolutely,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Anaga, Shashank, Sneha, any questions from you guys? Or you want to say something to Naindeep?
I would like to thank ma'am for teaching us new things and all today what I learned. Thank you very much for that.
Wonderful,
Very glad that it
Sneha.
helped.
Wonderful, thank you. Shashank, yeah,
Shravani?
Anaga is here.
Yeah.
Anaga.
Hello, ma'am. There is no question. It was new for us, and there was many things that we could learn. And thank you for that.
Thank
Oh,
you,
glad.
Anaga.
Happy to
Wonderful.
help.
Glad.
Thank you.
Shashank. Shashank, is there? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Anything from
Thank you, ma'am.
you?
It was a no, ma'am. It was a good experience, ma'am. Actually, I knew some of the like things, but still, it was like very helpful for me, I guess. Thank you,
Excellent.
ma'am.
Shravani, thank you for joining. I know we have to still connect up on a one-on-one level, but anything that you would want to add or say, you're most welcome.
No, I think thank you, Nandi, for taking this session for us. I really loved the way she explained everything. It was very put together. yeah, I mean, it was a good refresher overall, but there were so many things that I didn't know Canva could do that I only knew that was there on PowerPoint. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. I am happy that it helped everyone. And if you ever have any questions, you know how to reach out to Archana. You can reach out to us at any point of time.
Absolutely. And one offer before we close the session, you all have something like this that you can share with the world. So if you think you want to do a webinar series as part of our platform, you're most welcome to connect up with me and share what's the topic that you would like to take, that you think people would be interested and they would benefit from it, and we'll be very happy to invite you as our speaker and arrange the whole thing out, right? Great,
Thank
then.
you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in and making this so wonderful. Once again, huge thanks, Naindeep, for doing this. And I'm sure you will get called back again and again. Thank you so much.
I would be happy to be here again. Thank you, Archana, for arranging this. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here, even though we're over time. Thank you again.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well
See ya.
done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the
Bye.
day.
Thank you.